My band and I had just won this online Battle of the Bands contest and got flown out to LA. We flew over there to sign a recording contract, came back, and I found out I was pregnant with my first child.
You have a very successful career still to this day. You've come back, you had a baby, you're in a relationship at the time. Went on The Voice the first time in 2014,
Yeah.
and then you're back on 2022. There's a lot of plates. How did you navigate that?
It was a really challenging time for me because I felt that I had a lot of pressure to sort of choose between my career and being a parent. I then was determined to prove that I could have both.
Do you look back at your 20s and go, I wish I had done something to prevent this? Or is this something that you just gone, my life's just thrown this at me to navigate now?
I don't regret the way that anything happened because I know what I know now and I know what I need to do to be better.
Thando, it's been a week.
Thando Sikwila, known simply as Thando, is a Zimbabwean Australian singer-songwriter and actor based in Melbourne. After 2 standout runs on The Voice Australia, she emerged as a finalist under Keith Urban and captured hearts nationwide. She's also starred in Effie White in Australia's first professional production of Dreamgirls and is an award-winning soulful force in R&B. From powerful TV performances to iconic musical theatre roles, Thando brings raw emotion, grit and musicality to every stage.
Thanks for joining me for dinner.
Thank you for having me.
I forgot how good Coke is.
Regular Coke, not this no sugar nonsense. Sorry.
If you're gonna have Coke, just have the no sugar version.
Do it right. Do it right.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm surviving. Yeah. How are you?
It's so lovely to. I'm well. Surviving my 20s. It's so lovely to have you. Me, restaurant warehouse. Your restaurant. You, Sue, restaurant warehouse. Whatever you call it.
Whatever we said earlier. Yeah.
Dig in. My dad made us some pasta for tonight. Hey, it smells beautiful. Hey, I love my dad. I love Johnny. Talk me through your 20s. What a time. It wasn't too long ago. Like, it felt like it was like probably yesterday for you.
Do you know why? It's probably because my 20s really, I guess, in the traditional sense of what people think your 20s should be, kind of started in my 30s. So I feel like I did life back to front, which is really strange. But I changed a lot from, 19 to 29. There were a lot of big life changes that happened for me. So
wow. Okay. So take me back while you have a bit of bite to eat first. Take me back to the start. I mean, have you always known that you're a performer, you're an artist, like you're meant to be on stage? When did life kind of begin for you?
I think I've always known that I wanted to be a performer, like sort of since I was a kid. So I moved to Melbourne when I was 17 and went to uni and connected with some musicians in Melbourne. So I'd say that my performance career started when I was 19. I was in a reggae band, so random.
What was it called?
Echo Drama.
Echo Drama.
Yes. It's really interesting because I think early 2010s, 2010 to 2013, there was this huge surgence of dub, reggae, hip hop bands in Melbourne. And the funny thing about it is these bands were all predominantly white men. So it was really interesting. I ended up being the woman of color fronting this band of musicians that played reggae. And they were all jazz musicians that had studied at VCA and Melbourne University who had the theory and had the vibe and music. So I think they just needed that one crucial element of someone who sort of understands that music on a cultural level to come in and inject it with some authenticity.
Yeah.
It was really fun for me because my uncle loved listening to Bob Marley all around the house. Bob Marley and the Wailers. So I felt like I had, enough of a qualification to offer some kind of input. But because I'd been singing my whole life up until that point, it was really cool to be able to start figuring out my artistry. And I didn't sort of realize that figuring out that artistry also came with figuring out who I was as a person in that growth, and growing in front of people with an audience was really interesting because I felt like I always sort of had a set of eyes on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've very much grown up in, as I've seen, I mean, from one part of the growth, it's everyone's been viewing. You're a figure. You're someone that's really leading the charge in the music space. What's a pivotal moment of your 20s when it was kind of went from being something that was regular to like, oh, actually, this is like my job now. Like, this is what I do in life?
It's probably when I went on The Voice for the first time.
What year was that?
It was 2014.
Wow.
Oh God, that was I'm showing my age.
Yeah, black and white TV back then. No, I'm kidding.
Watch yourself. Yeah, no. So I was 19 when I went on the show, and then turned 20 while we were filming. And I think when I was eliminated, I kind of had it in my mind that I wanted to be able to, obviously once the episodes went to air, be able to use that to sort of launch my career as a solo artist. So I didn't expect it to go from 0 to 100 the way that it did, because I sort of hit the ground running. I started like booking original shows, sort of selling out smaller venues around Melbourne, which was really cool because that was people coming to see my music that I've created. My songwriting partner and I at the time, Henry James, we just built up this whole repertoire of music just to sort of tell my story and introduce me to the world. And it was really cool having people support based on what their preconceived notion of who I was because of TV, come get the full picture by seeing me live. So yeah, it was really cool being able to share who I was with the world at the time.
And then were you still in your 20s when you went back onto The Voice, or?
Technically, yes. I was 29.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in your 20s.
Totally different set of circumstances, because at this point I'd become a mother. And I think I was incentivized, like my incentives for going back on the show were a lot different this time than what they were when I went on when I was 19. It was about sort of reintroducing myself to Australian audiences as a grown woman, and to be able to sort of cement my legacy and build something that my daughter could be proud of once I'm retired or gone. I don't know what a positive way to say moved on from the earth, but yeah, just something that would keep a memory of my achievements alive.
So take me back. You went on The Voice the first time in 2014.
Yeah.
And then you're back on 2021? Two. It's a big gap between both times going The Voice, all in your 20s.
Yeah.
What happened in that time frame?
A lot changed. When I was 25, at what was the height of my career at the time, I was touring around the country, getting radio play around the country. People sort of were, getting to know me on a more sort of commercial level. My band and I had just won this like online Battle of the Bands contest and got flown out to LA so we could showcase for like labels and publishers and all that stuff, which was really cool. Like we got the full like Hollywood experience. So we flew over there to sign a recording contract. Came back and I found out I was pregnant with my first child. And it was really scary because I was 25 and I always knew that I wanted to be a mother, but the timing to me was like, okay, I'm like at the cusp of greatness.
Yeah, exactly right. The success in that field,
cusp of success. And then the universe said, hey, here's a curveball.
Knock.
What are you going to manage? And it was a really challenging time for me because I felt that I had a lot of pressure to sort of choose between my career and being a parent. The music industry is really cruel in that it doesn't give women a lot of option as far as like, being able to have both. You feel a lot of pressure to choose one or the other. And I think I then was kind of determined to prove that I could have both. So I very much embraced being a parent and decided to sort of use that as what fuels me with moving my career forward, because now it wasn't just my career or my accolades or my ego or anything that needed to be catered to. I had to think about the bigger picture and think long term, like what direction am I going in musically, what stages am I putting myself on, how accessible am I to the people that seek to gain something from me, whether that's promoters or managers or agents. It then also helped me figure out work-life balance and how to choose things that fill my cup and felt safe for me to grow and develop as a mother, but still be able to continue nurturing my career. It is a constant battle, like to this day. My daughter is 26 and I still struggle with finding the balance between my personal life, my family, and also my career. So it's been really interesting navigating that. And it comes in ebbs and flows. There's no perfect balance that's achieved. You're constantly striving towards making one or the other work.
Oh,
Yeah.
Eat up too. Have some food.
Yeah,
I feel
so
like
I'm just...
it's one of the joys about this podcast is that you sit here and chat, and then you realise that I get to eat, but then the guest doesn't get to eat as much.
It's my fault because I talk too much.
No, never. I'm keep eating, but I'm fascinated to hear. You mentioned work-life balance. Did you ever truly find that in your 20s, or have you found it? Have you gotten close to finding it? Because I sit there and go, everyone goes, oh, work-life balance, but I'm like, if you love what you do, I mean, work-life balance, I don't think is valid. But then I feel like you only start thinking about work-life balance when you're trying to toy between your love, your passion, and then things that you feel like you should be doing.
Pouring into.
You know what I mean? Like, how did you navigate that? I mean, you have a very successful career still to this day. You've had a baby. You've come back to a ring. You're in a relationship at the time. There's a lot of plates.
There's a lot to juggle. Yeah, I think one thing that I feel a lot of people tend to, I guess, take for granted is community. I come from a culture where child rearing is something that's done with every member of community. It's not just parents and child completely responsible for that. It's aunties, it's friends, it's cousins, it's neighbours. It's everybody comes together to help establish a balanced and comfortable upbringing for a child.
Did you have that here?
I managed to build my own community, which is great. Amongst a lot of my friends and a lot of my peers in the music industry, I was one of the first to have a child. So I think because I was kind of like the crash test dummy for a lot of them, a lot of them would, put their hands up to babysit or come and hang out. If I had to bring my daughter to a gig or a speaking engagement or something that had to do with work, someone would come along and hold her for me or look after her while I was doing what I'm doing. I mean, even the last time that I came into your space, I was with my daughter. I mean, the iPad did most of the work then, but that's because she was at iPad
Towards
age
the
now.
end, though, she got there and she's like, can we go? Like, can we get out of
sat
here?
in my lap and but definitely leaning on community. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people might fear doing, like fear asking for help. Like if I had that fear, I think it would have been a lot more difficult for me to be able to manage that. But I've only really been able to continue pouring into my career because I've been able to trust the people closest to me in my life.
So I guess the most beautiful thing about your 20s, obviously career success and having Charlie, was the fact that you built that community to support where you were going.
Yeah.
And do you feel like they've always been here to support through the flows? I mean, you went on The Voice again.
Yeah.
You went musical theatre. You've been touring at the art centres and performing at this beautiful. I saw it was with. Was it Kate Sprant? Oh, it was like a group of you awesome women.
We did the Sydney Opera House and Hamer Hall.
Yeah.
The Aretha Franklin show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You've done so much. Like the community stayed.
Yeah, absolutely. The community's been there since day one. So I think what's really important is, because these were relationships that I invested in right from the start of my career, with any life changes that sort of came, they were there to help me weather every storm. My child's father and I ended up separating about 3 years ago, and community was really important to the both of us. We had the same group of friends, the same group of, babysitters, the same access. So, we have a really amicable relationship now, and we're both on a team raising our daughter, as opposed to previously we were on a team helping build up my career. So, he's part of my community in that way as well, because he's there to support me.
And were you both supportive of that decision from the get-go, or did it take time to come to that?
No, took a while to get there. It's really interesting. Like, one of the things that I've learned through my 20s is sometimes the relationships that you have aren't what you think they're going to be at the beginning. And I think we were together for a decade. So we both, 10 years. And we both just grew into totally different people, and we were no longer compatible romantically, but we always knew that we made a great team because, we toured together for a decade, we made music together for a decade, and now we had a child together.
It's a beautiful statement.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I mean, he's really truly one of my best friends, and because he's seen me grow through all these different stages of my life, he understands me in a way that no one else in my life right now does. So I think that's the thing that has kept our relationship what it is, and why I think that we're the best team to help raise our daughter. You know, he's a really, really great person. I respect him a great deal, and I trust him with everything. So
Wow.
he's such a great dad. He's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Do you look back? You know, I've been listening to this concept at the moment, the gap and the gain, where artists and people that are creative or entrepreneurs sit in the gap, which is where they're comparing themselves to where they want to be. But the gain is where they look back at the career successes and gone, actually, you know, I've done a lot of shit in my time.
Yeah.
Have you ever sat there and gone, I don't know, has the journey been like worth it? Like, am I on the right path, or do you have like an idea of where success is for you? Like, where are you now? Because you've done so much in your 20s, like crazy about, like kid, voice, traveling around, touring, like you've grown as like everyone knows who you are, like so beautifully too. Is it what you want to do?
It's so interesting you asking me this question now. I think I've been doing a lot over the last 12 years, and I've kind of gotten myself to a stage where I'm not too sure what the future looks like for me in music. I definitely have had moments where I've unfortunately like compared myself to some of my peers, and like this is something that will obviously happen in this industry or anything at all. You kind of look at these markers of success and you sort of look at where you're at, you know, like, am I doing as well as I could be? Am I in the place that I wanted to be when I set goals and intentions for myself, 5 years ago, however long ago it was? And if that answer is no, exactly what you've just spoken about, being able to look back at what you have managed to achieve and I guess recalibrate what your idea of success is, comparable to, the things that you actually have done. I think if you asked me 2 years ago where I see myself and if I'm happy with the things that I've achieved, 100%. My marker of success is me having self-belief and self-esteem in myself. I want to be able to mentor and to share everything that I've learned with young people in this industry and be able to be a guiding force, because it is such a jungle to navigate.
Is it ever? Yeah.
Truly. Especially coming out of COVID.
Yeah. I think flipped on its head.
Completely. And it's a totally different industry to the one that I came up in. And I think that's the reason why I took a step back from mentoring in the industry sense, because I myself is still figuring out what this new version of the music industry looks like. Where does funding come from? What's the relationship between performers and venues? Where do promoters fit into it? Managers, all of it. Like, how relevant is that to building your team now? Yes, this is like the model that it was pre-COVID, because that's just the way it was. And it was a model that hadn't changed for decades.
Probably since the 70s, like 60s, 70s, right? Like,
whereas now it's completely flipped on its head, with, labels becoming pretty much obsolete because artists can be self-sufficient. They have access to their own distributors, facilities like this to create their own content, like cutting out the middleman, taking complete ownership of that. What does that then look like as far as directing your own future? I had to learn all that stuff for myself again before I move forward. I've decided that I need to just take a breather. I spoke about work-life balance, and I think for the last 12, 13 years, that work-life balance has always been skewed more towards work, because I knew that I needed to put myself on every stage that I could and take advantage of every opportunity I could to be able to build my career and to sustain a lifestyle and a living wage. But that's always been at the detriment of my personal life and my mental health. And I'm definitely starting to realize that I can't keep walking around on a broken leg, for lack of a better way to put it. So it's time for me to go to hospital and get this thing plastered up and recover before I get myself back out there again.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, firstly. I find it so fascinating as someone that really loves watching your content. Like, I think it's an absolute pisser at times.
At times.
You're living this beautiful lifestyle, mind you, that's like, you know, it's been like champagne and oysters and conversations and performing.
Yeah.
But to know how you're feeling down deep inside, that like that's a really big shift.
Yeah.
When did the shift happen though? Like when did you go, fuck, it's probably time for me to focus on this because I can't stop doing this anymore? I feel that went through and am going through the same thing of going, where's the joy gone out of what I do? Like, why isn't it there anymore?
Yeah. Do you know, I never knew the reason why I had an aversion to doing musical theatre. Like, I could never articulate what the reason was. And every time I'd get all these, like, audition briefs for different shows that would come through Australia, my manager would send them through and I'd be like, no, I'm not interested. And he could never get a reason out of me as to why. And then I got a DM on Instagram randomly from a really great old industry friend asking me to read for a role in the musical Rent that was coming up. Mind you, I didn't know anything about Rent, and they're on the final stages of casting, and I was like, okay, I'll just give it a go. I'll be in Sydney at the time anyway. I might as well give it a go.
Yeah,
and
what's to lose?
what do I have to lose? Went and read for it, did a chemistry test with the person that would be my co-star. Everything went well. You know, I get the call, got the role. Sweet. Okay, guess I'm back in the musical theatre game. I guess I'm gonna learn how to dance and, you know, flex my acting muscles again. It's been a while since I've been on stage in that context, so I thought it would be a really great challenge. And I think because I knew like the level of discipline and the amount of emotional effort it takes to be on a stage playing the same role, doing the same track, 8 shows a week, it requires some otherworldly level of like, it's just people that can do musical theatre are built different. I'm just going to say that straight up.
I feel that.
Built different. I think for me, knowing what was required, I felt like I was up to the challenge, and I was able to humble myself a lot. I think a lot of the processes that I go through for me getting on stage to do any of my own shows couldn't apply in this space, because I'll get on stage, I'll sing for 2-3 hours once every 3 to 4 weeks. Whereas if I'm having to use my voice in the same capacity 8 times a week, like double shows.
And it's not a soft show either.
It's not a soft show, you know? And see, I'm lucky I didn't like have giant, massive sings throughout. Like I played Joanne, and you know, she's got that awesome duet with Maureen. Yeah. But that's kind of it, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, no, this should be chill. I should be able to manage this. You know, everything was great when we did our run in Brisbane. When we got to Melbourne, I got sick and we did our opening night, and like that went well, but my voice wasn't like 100%. But me being in my hometown, and of course it had been, you know, a couple of months since I'd had the opportunity to sing anything else or do anything creative. After our after party, I went out and I jumped on stage for a jam with this house band that plays at the Toff, and that was like 1 o'clock in the morning till whenever the sun came up, just singing my guts out, having a good time, just being able to like express myself creatively and feel free. And I didn't realize how much I'd missed it, because obviously in the musical theatre space, you sing what's written.
Discipline,
You have to be locked in. You can't change anything. And oh God, how good it felt to just let my voice do what I knew it could do. But then I go to work the next day and I go to try and sing, and my voice was like, it wasn't amazing. Like they could hear that my voice was tired. So, you know, my manager gets an email being like, hey, Tano's voice isn't doing amazing. We want to put her on vocal rest. We'll let her come back when she's all good. Normally this wouldn't be a thing that we flag, but we know that she went out after the after party from opening night. So we're disappointed that this is something that she's chosen to do, because obviously she hasn't shown up to work 100%. I'm happy to take the L. I fucked up. I shouldn't have gone out, and I know that. And it was a big lesson for me, because I was like, okay, cool. That discipline that I knew that musical theatre performers have to be able to show up every single day for their jobs, that's something that I need to be about if I'm going to be part of this and see it through to the end. So shift of mindset, came back to work after my time off, ready to go. My first time back on stage after that whole situation, I don't know, like, how much pressure I put on myself to be perfect coming back because I fucked up the last time I was on stage. And now I had something to prove. I was showing up as Thando, who's done the voice, and the stunt cast person who's been doing all the press and promo, trying to get people to buy tickets. Now I'm in my home city. I've got people that don't go to the theatre and spend $150 on tickets. Like people that are coming out of their usual way of seeing me perform, spending more money. And I've got the producers. I'm needing to make them happy and feel confident in their decision to allow me back on stage. I've got all this pressure in the back of my mind. It's in my body. I go to sing the one big note that I have in the whole show, and I hesitate. I panic, and I just start choking. And it becomes this moment where I felt like, oh my God, I'm about to have a panic attack. My heart rate started...
This is on stage?
On stage, like mid-song. My heart rate started going nuts. I lost the ability to swallow, and that's funny because I'm thinking about it now, and it's like starting to happen now. I just lost the ability to swallow, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I had never, ever experienced that before. I thought it was just like a one-off. It's not going to happen again. Cool. Dusted it off. Next night, come back to perform. Same point in the show again, happens again. So then I was like, what's going to happen to me? Is this just like a thing that's going to keep coming up? Obviously, singing that note is freaking me out, and I've put a lot of pressure on myself to get this right, and it's not working. I confided in Callista, who was playing Maureen. We shared a dressing room, and she helped me with some rescue remedy, and we did some meditation, and we did everything that we could to just try and center and just stay focused. But night after night, it kept coming up. Luckily, we had a break of about 3 weeks in between the Melbourne season and the next city that we were going to. So I thought, okay, cool. This is an opportunity to just rest, get myself recalibrated. I'll be all good. Obviously, this panic is only happening every time I'm doing this show and singing this song, so it's got nothing to do with anything. I fly to Perth during this three-week break to go do the Aretha Franklin show with Karen Andrews and Mahalia Barnes, and during our sound check, there's no audience. It was just us and the band. This panic comes up again. It's like, I'm singing Aretha Franklin. I know this material like the back of my hand. This is my shit. Why is this coming up for me now? There's no pressure. There's no audience. There's no one watching. It's literally just us and the creatives. Why is this coming up for me now? And at that point, I realized that there was a problem.
Wow.
Yeah. My issue, though, is I didn't think of it as a psychological thing. I just thought, okay, well, usually when I get nervous, I'll just have a glass of wine and then I'll get on stage and it's fine. So then I had a glass of wine. One glass didn't do it, had a second glass. At this point, I'm dissociating. Now I'm on autopilot. And then every single day I've been on stage since that day, it was March the 7th, 2024. Every single day I've been on stage since then, I've had a couple of drinks in my system because that's the only way I've been able to get through singing.
Wow.
And that's not normal. That's not normal. So, sorry. Yeah, so it's been a long time coming, but I finally went and I saw someone about it. So I've got moderate to acute anxiety, diagnosed with it. I'm taking antidepressants now. I haven't been on stage since I started being medicated, so I'm actually really terrified thinking about the next time I'm going to be on stage. Obviously, I'm on these antidepressants, and I've made the decision to be sober, so I'm not drinking anymore either. And I am terrified about what it's going to feel like the next time I have to use my voice, because I don't know how it's going to feel and if it's going to be okay. I don't want to have another panic attack. But I know that I need to do something about it, because the joy of performing, the joy of singing has just been completely sucked out of it for me now, and I know that I need to get it back, but I want to take my time doing it, and to not self-medicate, because it's not working for me anymore.
Wow.
Fuck. Sorry. Oh, that is so heavy.
No, it's It's so special, and like, I think I'm more captivated by the sense that you're so beautifully honest about it, and that's in itself is like one of the hardest things to do, is like to actually be like, you know what, I don't have this shit together. I've carried this personality for Thando for a long time. I mean, and it's, you're kind of going, this is not me anymore. I'm not that person. It's okay not to be that person. What a journey it has been for you, though.
It's been a lot, you know. It's funny because like I so enjoy exactly what we were talking about before. Like I so enjoy like the oysters and the champagne vibe, you know, and like what it didn't continue as a safe thing for me anymore. Like I think in my mind what self-care was treating yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, splurge here and there, indulge, you know, enjoy like fine things. But I think at its essence, self-care is taking care of yourself. Like that's literally what it is. And taking care of yourself means sweet fuck all if you're not looking after your temple. And I think I got into a point where I was just like, yeah, I think, you know, mental health is such a topic.
Mental health.
Yeah, like, you know, especially
This is
like,
real stuff, though.
it's real. Like, you know, the way that, you know, I grew up, you know, if you had anxiety or depression, it was like,
Shake it off, mate.
find a way to just get on with it, you know? And, you know, I've been guilty of kind of having that same mentality. If anyone has ever expressed to me that they're feeling too depressed to get out of bed or they're not feeling motivated about something, I'd have this thing in the back of my mind of like, okay, well, I'm upset about stuff too, but I find a way to get on with the day. Like that is so toxic because that doesn't create a safe enough space for someone to feel like they can really be vulnerable. And I didn't realize all the ways that I was very much the same. So I'm just so used to masking and putting on this like version and this persona of myself because I was always so afraid of disappointing people. Like I didn't want people to see a version of me that didn't live up to their expectations. But at the same time, that was kind of my own fault because I created the persona that I was trying to live up to, you know, but I'm just too tired. I can't do it anymore. So that's the joy of being in your 30s, right? You stop caring what people think and you actually start thinking about yourself and your needs and listening to yourself. Yeah.
There's a lot to take from that. When my mum passed away in 2020, I went through this phase where I snapped into gear, all right, I'm gonna come out of this. I'm gonna inspire people. I don't know why my first thing was to inspire people. Once my mum died, this was 3 months after, I went off and it was like I did a video. I'm like, you know, I'm back. I'm gonna inspire people. I'm gonna leave my mum's legacy out. I'm gonna like really show that you can navigate grief. And you hit a nerve there because for 2.5, 3 years after that point, I was the same. People are going through anxiety or depression. I'm like, you know, you'll be right. My mum died. If I'm still okay, you'll be fine. Like comparing that was next level up.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't until I think New Year's where I was battling with my sexuality and I had this beautiful community for musicians that they weren't like, they were so happy to be themselves and they were so supported. But then every time I finished the gig at Ample Cafe, I'd go around the corner and be like, just cry my eyes out for no reason at all because I felt like I was an alien there, right? When I got just before New Year's Eve, I was on the floor in my bedroom, not moving, like upset, doing nothing for 4 days, that you realise, oh, this is actually real.
Yeah.
Mental health and these problems aren't just, you don't just slap a label on it, which is unfortunate that a lot of people still will do for their own gain. But when you experience it like you have, or you are, it hurts. And it's really hard to navigate because no matter how beautiful your community is or the people around you, you feel so isolated. Yeah. You feel like you're this little grain of rice in like a rice factory. You feel so distant from anyone else. And to this day, you keep on masking that, but until you actually go, why am I doing this if when I die, they're going to come, you know, people are going to come to my wake, then someone's going to rehire or refilm the position that I give to someone else at work, then they're going to read stories about you, everyone
then life
forgets,
goes on. Yeah.
and life goes on.
Yeah.
So why are we sitting here trying to prove ourselves to people that ultimately might surface level care? They're not, like, as soon as you're not here anymore, everything moves on. So it's really powerful to hear you kind of be like, no, I don't care anymore. What I care about is how my soul feels and how I feel, because you can't be anything to anyone if you're like nothing to yourself currently.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
As cliche as that saying is, it's like you can't. And if you've been there, do you find now? Do you look back at your 20s and go, I wish I had done something different to prevent this? Or is this something that you just gone, my life's just thrown this at me to navigate now?
Do you know, I think, as cliche as it sounds, I'm a genuine believer that everything happens exactly the way that it's supposed to. I think my 20s were exactly what they were, and I was the person that I was through that time in my life, because that is what has informed the bravery that I have now to be able to be accountable for who I am and what I'm going through. And I think, yeah, this last decade of masking and putting on a facade, and like I very much believed that I was everything that I thought I was, 100%. But the one thing that I always sort of shied away from were, matters to do with my mental health, or actually like being able to process things. I never learned emotional regulation. And it's obviously a very challenging thing when you have a 5-year-old who's having a meltdown over not being able to like have dessert or have iPad before she goes to bed, and trying to be the person that teaches her how to regulate if you never were taught how to do that for yourself. All of these things have led me to this place where I can take a look at myself and say, I am not mentally healthy. I am mentally ill. Now that I've identified what this is, I need to take the steps and do the work so I can remedy this the best I can, because at the very least, I owe it to myself to be happy and healthy and have a healthy life moving forward. And then the people around me who have access to me can then get access to the best version of me. I don't regret the way that anything happened, because I know what I know now, and I know what I need to do to be better.
If you have to give me one piece of advice, you give me a lot, but if you today, but if you had to niche down and give me that word of wisdom as someone 23, living a life that to most people would look at and be like, you dreamed of this as a young kid, Benny. You have everything you've ever wanted. But I still feel pretty lost because I feel like I've always been chasing success and not living in what I have.
Yeah.
What would you say? What wisdom would you like to share? Is there any wisdom, or is it kind of like, fuck it, good luck, Benny?
It's too easy to say, fuck it, good luck.
What is it?
I think in terms of you being able to like really give yourself a pat on the back for everything that you have achieved, if it doesn't feel like, because you've done incredibly, and I've always been so impressed by you. I've said it from the first day that I met you. I was like, holy shit, what do you mean? You're 19 when I first met you. I was like, and you're doing all of this, like, always blew me away. I think if you have the opportunity to sit down and write a letter to yourself today that you can open up in 5 to 10 years' time, congratulating yourself on all the growth that you've done, everything that you've built, the way that you did inspire people in your life, all the connections that you've made, the bravery to come out, the bravery to invest in everybody else, ultimately says everything that you need to hear 10 years from now when you're looking back at what your 20s were actually about, because they will inform who you are in the future. Like, literally stop and smell the flowers. And if you can't do that now because you don't know where you're headed, write yourself that letter and put it away. because I don't know what's going to happen to you in the next about 10 years. Like, because you will pivot and you will do something incredible, whatever it is. You are a bright spark, and you will set ablaze anything that you come in contact with, no matter what it is that you choose to do. But in order for you to solidify the glory of this moment, write it down. Write it down and look at it.
Do you know the way that I communicated to my dad was through a letter, because it's easy to process, and it means that you can process it the way you need to.
Yeah.
And that hits home. And I'm gonna go do that. I think tonight I'm gonna go home, write that letter, and then put it in the car to open up in 5 years' time. By that point, I reckon my calendar will be in my head, like with little losing glasses walking around. Hey, this has been so special. Thank you for that beautiful those compliments for me, by the way.
Oh, you're a G. What can I say?
It baffles me when people that I've always looked up to in my life go, "You're doing really great. I've admired." I'll sit there and go, "Oh, what did you say?"
Yeah, take it. You're so incredible.
You've lived and are living. You know, it's not no in memoriam. What is this? She lived a lovely life.
Here lies.
You've lived a beautiful life. I said it. I did it. You're living a beautiful life. You have a beautiful daughter who's actually could have her own TV show, mind you. She's funny as fuck.
Don't even tempt her, because she literally...
And to be able to sit here with you and just talk is so special. So thank you. And best of luck with this next journey in your life. I can't wait to keep touching base, but also just see what the fruit of this is in your life, and touch base when the time comes to hear it all.
Yeah. Thank you for always supporting me. I really appreciated talking to you today, and I'm really looking forward to whatever comes next.